listen to my voice, but also check that out. What is up, Finn fans? I'm still sick. Yeah, you can hear my voice. It sounds like hot garbage. I will say this, though. It's not a fever thing. It's more of a voice thing, and it's a congestion thing. Friday, if you saw Friday's video, I didn't sound too good. I sound much worse than I did now. But yeah, I got super sick over the weekend. My daughter got sick, and then I got sick, and now my wife's probably going to get sick. But my voice sounds like this, and I was hoping and praying because Saturday I sounded the absolute worst. Yesterday, which is tonight for me, I sound a little bit better, and I'm hoping as the week goes on, my voice does come back. I've been drinking tea with honey, but I'm not going to stop making content for you guys. I don't feel feverish. I feel congested, and my voice is gone. Other than that, status quo, baby. Status quo. So in this video today, we're going to be talking about the tight end and left tackle position. Barry Jackson came out with a fantastic article, kind of going deeper into the whole situation and what the flip is going on with the right tackle, because they haven't touched tight end, right? They brought in Sorbert, which is all fine and dandy. We still have Durham Smythe. We still have Tanner Connor. Other than that, nothing. And you know how I feel about right tackle. But Barry Jackson said some things about that. So we'll kind of pinpoint what he was talking about and then also see tight end position. And this week, me and Broshmo are going to be kind of talking about the tight end prospects. So we'll jump into this with Barry Jackson. His article, which I will link in the description if you want to read the entire thing. I'm not going to read the entire thing to you like you're a 5-year-old. But he talks about at right tackle, the Dolphins have inquired about several free agents, according to 3 sources. They've showed preliminary interest in George Fant earlier in free agency and have at least inquired about a couple others whom I've been asked not to identify, which is interesting to me. Does it seem like what they got paid is too much that they wanted, or, you know, something in that situation of why they didn't go after him? George Fant also, I'm looking at his PFF, and I know some people are like, PFF sucks, they're very biased, yada yada, and they are. You know, PFF is hit or miss with certain things, but George Fant was not good last year for the Jets. Like, why would you want a Jets if the Jets don't want him? Why would you want him? You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not that good, and why are we settling for George Fant to compete at right tackle? It makes no sense to me. It's the same thing with La'el Collins, who potentially is going to be released, and we'll talk about that. If the Bengals don't want him, and the Bengals need tackles, why would we go after him, especially due to the fact that he had a ACL and MCL tear on Christmas, which wasn't too long ago. Barry Jackson also says, meanwhile, they kept Brandon Shell in holding pattern, not ruling it out, but not trying to re-sign him either as of last week, which is interesting because Brandon Shell actually did pretty well for us at right tackle. Was he the best? But he did pretty well, right? My sense is that they might be waiting for a good player to become available through a cut, a trade request, or anything that can happen over the next 5 months, which is possible, but, you know, you are putting your blind side and a side that broke to his ribs. If you go back and remember, 2021 broke his ribs because Jesse Davis to chance, right? More right tackle figures to become available to expand on these options. As an example, La'el Collins reportedly might be released by the Bengals. The Dolphins focused on Teron Armstead over Collins last March, but Dolphins general manager Chris Greer was interested in Collins earlier in his career. And if you do remember, he was an undrafted free agent, and, you know, Pouncey went out to go see him, and a lot of guys wanted to try to bring him on to be a Dolphin and all that stuff. You also have left tackle Jonah Williams, who has asked the Bengals to trade him, and talk with teams are ongoing, but he reportedly does not want to play right tackle. And he's due about $12.6 million this year. So again, he wants to play left tackle, and I don't know if Jonah Williams will happen. He did play for Alabama, so there is that connection, but will it happen? I think the better of the options is La'el Collins, or, you know, there is DJ Fluker, who had He helped the pro day at Alabama, showing off that he's in shape, and he was, doing his thing. At this point, just any type of competition. The Dolphins haven't done any competition at all at the tackle position. They brought back guys, and it seems like they're just going to hand the position to Austin Jackson, which I think he even talks about, right? We could move Robert Hunt, drafting a right tackle at 51 to compete with Jackson, but that's risky because of the crapshoot nature of the draft, Miami's uneven history with drafting linemen over the past decade. That's another thing. A lot of people tell me, oh, it's March, Doug. Relax, it's March. There's the draft, there's this, there's that. I understand that there's options to fill in the need, but it needs to be the same thing that the Dolphins did with Ron Armstead. It has to be a need that is filled with experience. That was my thought process, right? You can disagree. I wholeheartedly, like disagreements and conversation. But we'll draft somebody at 51. What if they suck? What if they're Austin Jackson? What if they're a guy who's just a bust and can't make the transition, and you have him blocking to his blind side? I just don't like that move. And then they talked about moving Robert Hunt to right tackle, but Greer suggested he doesn't want to do that. As for tight end, my suspicion is the Dolphins are waiting until the draft to see whether they can add a tight end prospect with their 51 or 84 pick. Which are the only selections before 7th and 6th round. Again, you need to pull the trigger, right? McDaniels spoke with Strange at a Penn State Pro Day, so that's an option. So essentially what I'm getting at and what I'm hearing is that the Dolphins are in a hold pattern at right tackle. They're hoping and praying something comes up, right? Lyle Collins, DJ Fluker, Jonah Williams, something pops up, a move, a surprise cut, something happens, and the Dolphins can go out, get competition for right tackle, right? And if not, then they'll bring back Brandon Shaw. They're leaving him to the wayside, hold pattern on Brandon Shaw. And then tight end, it seems like they're fine with who they have, the three they have, and they'll probably try to draft one because they didn't go after anyone else. And I don't think there's really any tight ends left. You got like Mercedes Lewis and Irv Smith Jr. There's no one really left tight end wise to fill that need. So it seems like there's those options. But again, I get told to relax. It's just March. This will happen. There's a possibility of this happening. There's a possibility of that happening. But my point, right, and I'm not freaking out. Obviously, I have no control over the situation. Plus, I have bigger things to worry about than freaking out over a right tackle. But my thing is, why are you putting such an important position on the team to chance? Go out and make the move. Go out and get some of these guys. Like I said, there was right tackles out there that I wanted. You know what I'm saying? There was right tackles out there that weren't that much money. Mike McGlinchey, he got a stupid contract with the Denver Broncos. Good. Go play for them. Same thing with Juwan Taylor, Kansas City. Go. Be overpaid. But you got Caleb McGarry, who's making $5.5 million this year. He's making $12.5 next year. He was the 4th best tackle in free agency. So why didn't they make him? He did say that they did go out and they did their due diligence and they did acquire about some. But to me, the need to me is more pressing, and I would have liked them to be more urgent with the filling of this move. Now, again, I've got comments. People have gotten upset with me over my passion of getting a decent right tackle, which I don't understand why. It's an opinion, and it's an opinion of somebody who wants to make the team better. But I've heard these guys know better than me, obviously. I've said that too many times to bring it up again. To trust them. That's where I push back a little bit because I trusted Brian Flores at those 3 years, and that didn't end up good. Same thing with Adam Gase and that didn't end up good. So my trust in the coaching staff has kind of waned. So there's that. And again, it's March, then it's April, and then it's June, and then it's July, and then the season starts. And then all of a sudden, oh my God, why do our right tackle suck? So just to give you guys, I actually wanted to make this video for you Saturday. But again, I sounded worse than this on Saturday, if you can imagine. I sound pretty bad right now. I wanted to talk about, the news of they are going to try to fix the right tackle position or bring in competition. but they're going to wait and see. And just to give you guys an update on where we are before I get out of here, before my voice explodes out of my throat, Dolphins are sitting at $3.8 million in cap space. Let me just double check that they got all of the contracts in there. Just Andrew Van Ginkel and Justin Bethel, who they brought back. Justin Bethel, I was happy about that. Those are the only two contracts that aren't been added. So again, they're probably sitting at about $1 million, $2 million. But there's still moves that can be done. Christian Wilkins, they can re-sign him. $10 million can come off there. They can move some players. They could do stuff like that. But I just want to give you guys an update on the tackle tight end position. The tight end, I'm fine with the draft because there's a lot of good tight ends, and they could definitely get one at 51. Again, me and Broshmo will talk about that this week. Hopefully my voice is back by then. But it's just the tackle position. You put in too much into chance at a very important part of the offensive line and a very important part of the season. You put in too much into chance, and I could be wrong. And I hope I'm wrong, and I hope it pans out and plays out, and our right tackle is really good, whether it's Austin Jackson and he does take that turn for the best, or we get somebody and all of a sudden our offensive line is doing better than they did last year. I understand we had the 6th best offense in the NFL last year, but our offensive line was 22nd ranked, and we led the league in multiple categories when it came to pressure, hits, hurries. Tua had the 34th least amount of time in the pocket to throw. It wasn't good. So I just want to win. And to win, you need to have good trenches. And it don't seem like they're going in that direction. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. I do apologize if listening to me talk was like nails on a chalkboard. I do apologize. But I don't like not making content for you guys. And I don't like not doing my job, essentially. So not doing this for 2 days kind of sucked. So, hopefully I sound better tomorrow. But on that, like usual, stay classy and fence up.